Hey everyone, Shawn with RB Bass Outdoors. Hey, this prompted me to create a little video here because for those of you that weren't aware, yesterday was Valentine's Day and that date snuck up on me big time. But after scrambling to get Valentine's Day put together, another thing dawned on me, and that is that we are right around the corner from Christmas. And I'm not talking the one with the big man and the white beard. I'm talking about tag application dates. And so for those of you that don't know or don't do it, big game hunting season happens in the fall, primarily across most states, or almost all states. But here in the West, where we've got California, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, all those places, Idaho, you have to draw a tag. You don't just buy a hunting license and go hunt deer or elk or bighorn sheep like that one. You have to actually draw. You put in for what they call a draw. It's kind of like a lottery, and I'll explain more here in a minute. But you got to start thinking about it now. Those application dates here in California, I believe it's April 15th is when they'll open up. And in Nevada, it's March 25th. Those are the two states that I primarily apply for tags. You do have time in that window. California, it's about 2 months. It closes on June 2nd. And in Nevada, it closes on May 8th. So you have a little less time, about a little over a month. So Nevada, March 25th to May 8th. And in California, it's April 15th through June 2nd. Now, if you've never hunted before, you can't just put in for the tags. You have to take a state certified hunter safety class. You can sign up for those online. Go to the Nevada Department of Wildlife, go to the California Department of Fish and Game, INDAO for Nevada, California Department of Fish and Game for California. And again, I'll put links down below in the video here for you guys to access those links to get all the information. But for those of you that don't know, again, in California, we'll start with California. So California is what they call a modified preference point system. The bulk of the tags are based on the number of points you have for that animal. So if I put in 1 year and I don't get drawn my first choice, I get 1 point. If I put in for 3 years and I don't get drawn, I have 3 points. So if I put in if there's 2 people putting in for a tag, same unit, if I have 3 points, they have 1 point, technically I will get that tag. Now the caveat to California being a modified system is that a portion of the total tags are allocated to random, anybody. So it doesn't matter how many points you have, doesn't matter about anything, you could still draw. In Nevada, it is a lottery. It's 100% a lottery. You get the points. So if I don't draw, I get the points. And the way that they do it is they take the number of points you have and they square it. So if I had 2 points, I now have 4. And then I'm putting in that year, so technically I have 5 for that year. But it's basically a lottery. I bought 5 lotto tickets. I put them into the hat. If someone bought 100 lotto tickets, the odds of them getting it are better. So you do have better odds, but it is still 100% lottery. In Nevada, if you're an out-of-state resident, only a portion of the tags are allocated to non-resident hunters. So something to pay attention to. And again, all this is on their websites. They tell you. In California, there's a free PDF you can download that talks about all this stuff. So aside from getting your hunter safety, aside from getting your hunting license, because you do have to get that in order to do the tag system as well, there's a multitude of different tags you can put in for. In California, for the fall, you have deer, you have antelope, you have bighorn sheep, you have elk. As part of that, they break the state into different areas. And they'll have a map in that PDF. You can look up the different areas that you can hunt these animals, and they'll tell you the season dates. So I guess what I'm getting at here is there's a lot of planning that goes into hunting for an upcoming season. You don't just walk down to Walmart or your local sporting goods store and buy a tag and a license and get to go shoot something. I think that's a misnomer for people that aren't in the industry or don't understand it. There's a lot, and it's an investment too. So if you're looking to get into hunting, please do the research. Go to the California Department of Wildlife, download that PDF and look at the dates. Put it on a calendar. Do you have other stuff going on? Is there something that you need to be doing in order to make sure that you can be there? Because if you draw the tag and you don't get to go, you don't get your points back. You drew, you're out. So now you start over with 0 points the next year. So a lot of guys, you can buy points. You don't have to put in. So last year I had a big hunt down in New Zealand. I did not put in for tags in any states. I bought points. And the reason I did that is, one, I don't want to miss the draw, and I don't want to fall behind as far as preference goes. Because then everybody else put in, I didn't, right? I'm not getting that point for the year. So I bought the points, and they're like, in Nevada in general, they're 15, 20 bucks a piece for each animal. In California, it's about the same thing, about 20 bucks a piece, if I remember correctly, but you can buy the points. So another thing to pay attention to, California. In California, you don't lose your points unless you draw your first choice. So when you go to your tag applications, you'll get 3 choices for different areas to put in for these animals. So for deer, if I put in for 3 different units, if I don't draw my very first unit, that first choice, but I do get my second or third choice, I keep my points for next year. So pay attention to that. Don't put a unit on there. Put your best unit up top, because if you draw it, that's your best unit. Obviously, it's got better statistics. It's got everything. You got better quality animal maybe. Maybe it fits the area you want to go hunt because it's closer to home, or it's a place you want to go check out. But if I still drew a deer tag that year, but it wasn't my first choice, I get to keep my points for the following year. Elk, bighorn, antelope are different. If you draw, you're out. You get 0 points the next year. You use your points. The other thing to keep mention of, let's say I'm busy for the next 3 years and I can't go hunting. One option is you buy the points, like I talked about, or you don't put in, right? And you don't get your points. You don't buy the points. You don't do anything. You don't even put in for the draw that year. Well, pay attention, because in California for elk, antelope, because I'm looking at the antelope across behind you guys, and then bighorns, if you don't put in for 5 years in a row, you lose all your accumulated points. 5 years. Deer, doesn't matter, you'll keep them. I don't know why they did it that way, but that's what they did. So deer, I could not put in for 10 years. I'll keep my points, and then I'll start putting it again, but I start back where I was 10 years ago. It's fine. With these animals, they're gone. If you don't put in for 5 years, you're out, and you start over with 0. In Nevada, it's every other year. So I cannot put in for 1 year. If I don't put in for 2 years, all my points are gone. And to me, that's a big deal, because in Nevada, they have really good quality hunting. It really is. There's a multitude of different animals. Both the animals you see, matter of fact, all 3, I got a mountain lion, an elk, and a bighorn. I drew those tags in Nevada, but I've been accumulating points. I got lucky and drew my bighorn with 12 points, which means I put in for 11 years, and I was putting in on my 12th year. That's when I drew that. So technically, I had, I don't know what 11 squared is, 110, plus 111 entries into the hat. I got lucky and drew that. With my elk, I drew it as an archery tag. I did not draw it with a rifle. I drew it with 7 points. So 6 and 6 is 36. I had 37 entries into the hat, but I had 7 points. That's how people, if you're communicating with people, are like, I have 7 points. That's what they mean. I have 7 points for that animal right there that's going to go into the hat. And then my mountain lion in Nevada, you can hunt mountain lions still, which is great. I hope it doesn't change. There is some legislation in Colorado where they're trying to get rid of it completely, similar to California. I understand that it's a big cat, but me personally, they're everywhere. And I would encourage you to go hunt them if you get a chance, not to just kill an animal. They're a really cool critter, but they're the top of the food chain, other than human. So I think they need to be regulated too. That's me. That's my opinion. But in Nevada, there's a selection. When you put in for your tags, let's say I put in for this elk and I drew it. Part of my application process, it'll ask you, do you want to buy a mountain lion tag upon being successful in the draw? So again, when I put in for elk or deer or bighorn or any of them, do you want to purchase a mountain lion tag upon being successful in the draw? That means if I draw that elk or that bighorn, it's going to automatically get me a tag. They're over the counter, mountain lions are. I think they're 35 bucks or something like that. So I do that. Why? Because when I'm out hunting these things, if I run across a mountain lion, I can hunt it. I can shoot it. That's how I got that one. I was actually hunting an antelope. You can't see it. It's behind you. But I came over a rock chasing a different goat, and a mountain lion came out of the rocks, and I got a mountain lion. That's a 6.5 foot female cat. It was really cool. So anyway, so there's just a lot of tweaks. There's no way I have enough time. It would take a 3-hour video to go through all the regulations. Read the regulations. If you're a seasoned hunter, this is one thing that gets people in so much trouble. If you're a seasoned hunter, read the regulations. They change year after year after year. They change. The units change. The regulations for that unit change. In California, all of you guys are generally familiar with it. You basically can't use lead ammo anywhere anymore. It has to be copper or some other metal. It cannot be lead anymore. In Nevada, that's not the case, but they are constantly changing. You'll put in for, let's say this bighorn right here. It's a better example. They might not put out tags for that unit next year or the year after because they had a big die-off. The domestic sheep herders, they run the open range of BLM. Nevada is like 80 or 90% BLM property, and they get permits to go out and run their sheep on these ranges. And if they get anywhere near these bighorns, it'll kill them. They get pneumonia and it kills these things. So it's important to pay attention to the units. They change every year. The regulations in them change. The season dates will change sometimes. So it's important. And just saying that I've hunted there for 25 years is not an excuse to a game warden. I mean, they have a tough job as is. They cover a lot of ground. I feel for them. But I want to be doing everything right, because if I do something wrong and I kill an animal I'm not supposed to, number one, I can get fined for it. But two, we're hurting the population. There's a reason those rules are out there. They do surveys. They try to get as much information as they can before they put out tag allocations in all these areas. So if we just go out and shoot things without the proper licensing, without knowing what's going on, and if you're poaching, let's say, you're basically poaching, you're hurting that population over time. And so that puts stricter regulations on everybody else. So the key is doing the right thing, and it's up to us as hunters to follow those regulations. I don't know of any hunters that want to ruin the population. They want it to be there. I have 2 young boys outside sledding around because we got snow the other day, and they want to go hunting. They constantly ask me, Dad, when can I go hunting? Dad, when can I go hunting? And I want to do everything I can to make sure that something like that is in dire straits in the state of Nevada. These populations are low and they're hard to maintain because of the domestic sheep and among other things. A lot of it's habitat, guys. Those of you in California know it. The cities are growing like crazy, and it's pushing the animals out away. And so the environment that these animals live in is getting hurt by us, and that's not some sob story. It is what it is. That's reality. The science is out there. And so we got to do everything we can to protect it. And so I encourage you to put in for the tags. I encourage you to put in for your license, because that money goes to support other agencies and other foundations to bolster these populations and make sure that we have them for future generations. Again, in the link below, I'm going to put links to the Department of Wildlife for Nevada and California so that you guys can click on them. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or reach out to me in the comments. I'm sorry. But I've been very fortunate. Like I said, I didn't grow up hunting at all. I learned this all on my own. The statistics are out there for these units, but it takes research. It takes planning to do what you want to do. I can go get the easiest deer tag in the state right now, but I better not expect to see some giant mule deer running around, or a giant bighorn sheep, or a Nevada state record book elk sitting here. I did a lot of research, and they give all that information to you. I'm an engineer by trade, but I'm kind of a dork. So I took all those statistics, I built spreadsheets, and I could type in the number of points that I have that I'm putting in for, and it would tell me my draw odds for all the units in every state, the odds of me drawing that tag. And it would also tell me the odds of a state record book animal in that unit as well, because they put that information out there. So I put it in a little program, I built it all myself, and I did that. Now there's websites you can subscribe. I think Onyx even has something like that now, where you can type all this in and it's going to tell you as a non-resident hunter. As a resident hunter, I don't know if they break that down, to be quite honest with you, but I got away from doing all that stuff myself because of all these apps that are out there, and I'm much more familiar. I've been in Nevada for pushing over 20 years now, 24, 22 years. So I'm pretty familiar with the state of Nevada now. And so I know generally where the good animals are, where the draw odds are. Like if I put in anywhere around Reno for deer, the odds of drawing a tag are very, very slim. You better have a lot of points. Why? The animals are good. They are good. I think there's better units in the state that have bigger animals overall, but it's close to Reno. Where's the population? Reno and Vegas. So it's harder to draw because people can come out on a Friday afternoon or a Wednesday afternoon after work, go up the mountain and go hunt deer. The more remote you get, the easier the tags get to draw or are to draw, but you might find that the population is lower because the habitat is lower. That's dry. Nevada's dry. There's not a lot of water. That's the other thing Nevada does. They put out a map every year that you can buy, of course, that tells you where they put water tanks in that harvests rainwater and puts it into a tank to help support populations, specifically antelope and bighorns. There are some for elk too, but generally where they're putting them is in the bighorn ranges and the antelope ranges. In California, I don't know of a lot of that going on, but there's plenty of water in California. It's more about where do I want to drive, how much public land there is for me to access versus private land. That's a big deal in California, so pay attention to it. OnX Maps can help tremendously with that. So I guess all that, long story short, guys, it's now. Now's the time. If you've never done a hunter safety course, you got to go do that first. You do get reciprocity. So if I get a hunter safety in California, I can use it in Nevada. I just got to keep my proof of it. When I first got mine 30 years ago, it was all paper and I lost it somewhere down the road. So when I was like 21, 22, I came to Reno. I had to go take the course with a bunch of 9 and 10-year-old, 12-year-old kids, which was fine. It was actually good. I actually would recommend it because it kind of refreshes some of the basics in your head as a hunter that's been around for a while. But you do get reciprocity. So if you're hunter safety approved in California, you can hunt Nevada. If you have a Nevada hunter safety, you get reciprocity in California. You just got to prove it. So the time starts now, you guys. Start thinking about it because the deadlines come quick. Again, March 25th to May 8th for Nevada, April 15th to June 2nd for California. Me personally, I will put in for Nevada first. The draw comes out, so it closes on May 8th. The results come out the week after that. So like May 17th, give or take, you'll know what you drew in Nevada. So I've already done my research in California at this point. Once I know what I've drawn in Nevada, as long as I don't have conflicting dates, then I'll put in for California because I still have about 2 weeks, 3 weeks to put in for California, but at least I'm not drawing tags all over the place and I don't have the time to go hunt them because of the dates. They all happen. Sometimes they happen at the same time. So something else to pay attention to. I didn't get into Oregon. I didn't get into Washington. I didn't get into Idaho or Utah or New Mexico or Arizona. I didn't get into any of that stuff. But again, if you're going to put in for out of state, every state has this information and they all have different rules around how you put in. In California, I can put in for the tags and buy the license later. Or not buy the license until I get the tag. You lose the application fee, that is it. In Nevada, you have to buy your license in order to maintain your points. So again, if I put in for deer and elk and bighorn and all this stuff in Nevada, I have to buy my license. I cannot just say I'll buy it upon drawing because you won't get those points for that year. So I have to buy my license there. In other states, and it's just an application fee. That's the $15 per animal, something like that you put in. You'll lose that. Once you draw in Nevada, then they hit you with the tag fee. Same with California. Once you draw, they hit you with the tag fee. In other states, you have to buy the license typically, and you have to front the money for your tag. If you don't draw, you'll get the money in return for the tags that you didn't draw. So if you're going to put in for 5 animals, and I don't know exactly the rules in, like, let's say Idaho, and they make you pay it up front, it's probably going to cost you $1,000 or more just to put in for those tags. You'll get some of it back if you didn't draw. Again, that's an example. I don't know if that's the rule in Idaho, but it's just an example. So pay attention to that when you're putting in for these tags. Again, you've got to read these regulations and you got to know. Hunting is, it's a great pastime. Yes, I've been very fortunate. I encourage you to go. But again, it's not about this for me. It's not about that for me. It's cool. I can put it on my wall. It's a great conversation piece when I have people come over and hang out. But it's the memories for me. Taking my kids out. My wife, we don't even have her deer hung up anywhere because it was a little teeny one. But at the same time, it was the memories of her getting her first deer. And I cannot wait till my boys are old enough to go do that. Yeah, that's a memory, no doubt for me. But I'll tell you right now, I made friends. I've spent 19 days out there in the middle of nowhere, no cell service, hunting this animal with a bow and arrow. And while camped out there, I made friends with some other hunters, and they have been friends now for, God, it's been like 12 years. On that note, I'm sorry. In Nevada, another thing to pay attention to, if you draw an elk, whether you kill or you don't kill, you cannot put in for an elk again in Nevada for 7 years. 7 years. I can't even put in for the draw. So I killed this thing. It took me 7 years to draw it. Then I couldn't put in for 7 years. So 14 years later, I think next year, the year after, I can finally start putting in for elk again in the state of Nevada. Bighorns? 10 years. Some of them, I can't put in ever again. It's a once-in-a-lifetime hunt. Once you draw it, you can never put it in the state of Nevada again. They put your name into this file, whatever. They won't even give you the ability to apply for it. So on that note, especially when you're hunting out of state, it's a lot of money to hunt out of state. Put in for the units that you want. Don't just be like, I just want to draw the tag. Well, be careful, because yeah, I can go draw an elk and I kill a little baby elk. That experience probably isn't the one that you want. It's worth the extra time to get the right unit, because your experience and your memory will be far, far better if you take that time. So again, that's another little thing to keep in the back of your mind when you're putting in for these tags and you're doing your research. It's a lot of reading. It's kind of boring reading, but it is worth knowing every little in and out of what's going on. It'll get faster. The more times you put in, your research gets shortened, because you start getting familiar with things with each of these states, the units, the animals, things like that. So again, for me, it's the memories. That's why I continue to put in. And the other thing I do, create a hunting group. And I'm not talking social media hunting group. I'm talking a hunting group that you can go with. I've told you, both of these animals, this was 10 days, 19 days. I hunted them by myself. Create a group. And the reason I say create a group, you guys, is because now if I got 5 other people that like to hunt, I'm not the only one putting in for a tag. There's 5 other people. Now I get to join them. And a lot of times those memories, when you're not the hunter, are the ones that will stick with you the longest. I can almost promise you that will happen. Almost promise you. You'll go out with someone else that gets to take an animal like that. It'll stick with you for the rest of your life, and that's what hunting is all about. It's not all about this. It's not all about killing something but putting meat in your freezer. It's the memories with friends, the stories shared. That's what it's all about. So again, Shawn with RV Bass Outdoors. Any questions, hit me up in the comments. Again, I'll put links to the California Department of Wildlife and the California Department of Fish and Game and NDOW, Nevada Department of Wildlife, down in the link below. Start your research now. Those deadlines, June 2nd, California, May 8th for Nevada, are going to sneak up on us in a hurry. So just wanted to get this out here. I felt like it was timely. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out. Thanks for your time, guys.